Watching Liberty quarterback Malik Willis play football is like being a kid in a candy store. And with the emergence of super athletes at QB like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, it's no wonder that he has captured the imagination of NFL and NFL draft enthusiasts. Willis is remarkably talented, and just one look at his highlight reel and you'd probably come to the conclusion that he's going to be the number one pick in the 2022 NFL draft. Yet consensus rankings have him around the 30th best player in the draft. Daniel Jeremiah had him going 31st overall to the Detroit Lions, and some mocks just leave him out of the first round entirely. So what's the issue with Willis that has people so polarized about his future outlook? Let's take a look. Now, before I talk about some of the holes in Willis's game, I wanted to highlight his strengths and why people are so excited about him. You know, for those that maybe didn't get around to watching any Liberty football this year, but his defining trait is his aptitude for the spectacular. No play is ever dead when the ball is in Willis's hand. He has a solid base, good contact balance, and all of this helps him get out of sacks. He's got explosiveness as a runner and a plus arm to make throws that infuriate defenses. People are in awe right now of the types of plays that guys like Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson are able to make on Sundays. And even though Willis is coming from a lower level of competition, there's really no reason to believe that Willis won't be able to make a lot of these types of highlight plays in the NFL. Now, the other thing that should get you very excited about Willis is that he isn't like many of these other freak athlete quarterbacks coming out, like Jalen Hurts, Taysom Hill, or even guys like Lamar and Josh Allen, in that Willis is genuinely a pretty accurate quarterback with the football, especially when throwing to receivers running vertically down the field. Week in, week out, Willis was leading his receivers down the field, hitting them in stride, and honestly just making throws that the defense didn't anticipate him being able to make. Accuracy is just so damn important for NFL quarterbacks. Honestly, it doesn't get discussed enough. You can make the perfect read, have the perfect play call, have an all-pro receiver that's constantly burning players deep, but if you've got a quarterback who's constantly overcooking the football or sailing it out of bounds, none of that's going to matter. And I think we can say with relative confidence that this is something that isn't going to prevent Malik Willis from reaching his potential at the next level. His accuracy is really good. Now, I'm not going to act like he's got perfect accuracy. He certainly will miss some throws, and ideally his accuracy would be just a little bit better. But again, I really don't think this should be a worry with Willis, and it's something that's not going to hold him back at the next level. So that begs the question, what is it that could hold Malik Willis back from becoming the next exciting superstar QB? And unfortunately, the answer is quite obvious the moment you turn off the highlight reel and load up the All-22, where there's honestly red flags everywhere from an evaluation standpoint. There's some nitpicky things as well, but there's three major red flags with his passing ability that I want to highlight for the purpose of this video. Number one, Malik Willis is a first-read quarterback through and through. And while some of this is by design of the just blatantly rudimentary playbook that Liberty ran for Malik Willis, you can literally count with your fingers the amount of times that he made it beyond his first progression through to his second read within the pocket in his final season. There's times where it feels like you're just watching Jalen Hurts or Drew Lock in a Liberty uniform because he takes the snap, doesn't like what he sees, and then just takes off from a clean pocket. Now, at his level of competition, these decisions often turned into highlight reel moments because he was just such a better athlete than the future accountants and salesmen that he was going up against at that level of competition. And surely he's going to be able to get away with a lot of this stuff in the NFL as well, but not as much. And what we've learned about the quarterback position, if anything, is that if you can't stand tall in the pocket, climb the pocket, get through your progressions after the defense takes away your first read, I don't care if you're Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, more often than not, you're going to end up getting sacked, tackled short of the sticks, and or punting. Reading defenses and processing his route combinations based on the coverage that he gets is going to become a massive hurdle for Willis at the next level, because unfortunately there are some very, very ugly moments on his tape that show that this is a true weakness. Whoever drafts Willis is going to need to either sit and develop this part of his game or implement a system right away that can maximize his strengths as a runner, throwing on the move, play action, throwing deep outside the numbers, while slowly bringing in these new concepts for him while he learns. Very similar to the development tracks that we've seen from players like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. It's not impossible to do, but it is very, very hard. It requires a good organization and a foolproof plan to pull it off, and good players around him as well. Now, the number 2 issue with Willis is that more often than not, he is a thrower of the football and not a passer. This is something I've discussed in the past, and this phrase comes directly from Bruce Arians' book, The Quarterback Whisperer. Bruce has developed and worked with some of the game's best quarterbacks, from a young Big Ben, Andrew Luck, to reviving Carson Palmer's career in Arizona, and of course now Tom Brady. In his book, he wrote about the difference between a quarterback who can throw with anticipation and a quarterback who needs to see his wide receiver come open before he lets go of the ball. A passer of the football understands the alignment and assignment of opposing defenders. He has a chemistry with his receivers and the ability to throw the ball even before a receiver makes his break. Meanwhile, a thrower of the football may have one of the strongest arms in the league, but unfortunately he ends up making things harder on himself because the ball is often out late and a defensive back has more time to read the QB's eyes and arrive to the ball, which more often than not is going to make up for whatever advantage a guy like Willis might have with his arm talent. For Willis, this may be harsh, but there's honestly very little reading of safeties and linebackers going on at all. He's more reading his receivers every play. He understands when he gets single high coverage that he's going to have a one-on-one to the outside, and he'll attack that. But beyond that, he seldom uses the middle of the field in the passing game, and he constantly makes mistakes against any sort of two-shell coverages such as cover 2, cover 4, cover 6. This play here against Syracuse is a prime example. This out and go concept is something Liberty ran constantly in 2021. It's designed to clear out the outside corner, and as long as the slot defender has any sort of inside leverage or off coverage, as long as Liberty gets anything other than cover 2, this out route is going to pop open for an easy 5-yard completion. The problem here is that Willis doesn't read this defense. There's not a lot of disguise going on here either. See, the left side free safety here is going to bail right at the snap, and that's about as easy of a tell that this is cover 2 as you're going to get. And in cover 2, the left side cornerback is going to be playing a soft squat zone, and here he basically baits Willis into throwing into the flat. And if the corner triggers on this just a split second earlier, this is going to be a pick 6 going the other way. This is why I think Willis would benefit immensely from sitting for a year or two behind a great quarterback's coach who can better develop his ability to read safeties and understand where the weakness in certain zones is going to be at the next level. Because frankly, I'm not sure Liberty even bothered with a lot of this stuff at times. It's not like Willis needs to become some surgeon of defenses. He's got more than enough physical talent to compensate for a lot of this stuff. But there will need to be some decent growth in this department, or I do believe Willis is not going to make it in the NFL. The third thing that bothers me about Malik Willis as a passer is his decision-making out of structure. And let's face it, no matter how much development he shows inside the pocket, learning to get through his progressions and get rid of the ball quicker, extending plays is and always will be a big part of his game. He's just so athletic, why would it not be? And that's totally fine. But that's why I get so frustrated sometimes watching Willis in these playmaking situations, because more often than not, when he scrambles, he's scrambling to run, not to pass. He fails to keep his eyes downfield. And when he does keep his eyes downfield, because it's not every time, so many times he's constantly just missing opportunities to get the ball to open receivers. He's just straight up not seeing guys come open in scramble drill. And then beyond that, he's also put on tape the propensity to make some of these Jameis Winston, Carson Wentz style F-it throws that just, he's just putting the ball in harm's way. Literally just saying F it with the ball. There's so many amazing plays that Willis can make out of structure, and there will be plenty at the next level. There are so many amazing plays that Willis can and will make out of structure, and there's gonna be a lot of those plays at the next level. That's why he's so exciting. But I do often find myself scratching my head at a lot of the decisions he makes or doesn't make with the football when he starts scrambling. And that's essentially the Malik Willis experience. It really is right now a big, beautiful mess. Don't know entirely what to do with it right now. I'm heading down to Mobile for the Senior Bowl tomorrow. I cannot wait to see what Willis's arm looks like live and in person. I'm still processing and collecting information on how I'm going to ultimately rank Malik Willis. But when I get back from Mobile, I hope to get a new mock draft up and then also a top 10 quarterbacks video out. So that'll be good. Kind of get my first initial grade out there on him. Until then, you can follow my profile on Willis along with my current grade for him, available now on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/ThatFranchiseGuy, where you will also support my channel and get access to exclusive draft film breakdowns. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please do hit that like button if nothing else if you did. And make sure you subscribe for more draft content just around the corner here. But until then, cheers, and we'll see you next time.